Hello, welcome to PvP. Today, Dan plays Elite Dangerous. This is a game I've been looking forward to for quite a while, and I actually just bit the bullet and paid full price, 40 quid on Steam, so $60 in America. Mainly for the fact that I absolutely love space games, and this was just right up my alley. First person, massive universe to explore. There's apparently, according to them, there's 400 billion galaxies, 400 billion solar systems to actually explore. And from what I've seen, it is ridiculously big. So it's always a good start. So here is the main UI. This is the cockpit of our little ship. If you actually click the middle mouse button, you can free look around the actual cockpit. So your sort of general controls and bits and pieces. When you start accelerating and moving your joystick about, all these will move as well. But it does actually, wherever you look, it will come up with different computer screens showing you different modules and bits and pieces that you've got in your ship, the stats of your ship, and then over here, this is your main sort of menu you're going to be looking at for the majority of the time. So navigation, these are all of the sort of local star systems and local just objects of interest, really, like the free port there, which is the one that we're currently in. But there's also the option to the system map, so we'll have a look at that. And that's the system that we are currently in. So this is the Mortar system, and this is the Frankie, whatever, free port that we're in. And then just deep space all around. Now, in the deep space, there is plenty of little mini battles and people to speak to and traders to find and all that sort of stuff. So there's dozens of those in each solar system, as well as, and let's have a look at the galaxy map, this many galaxies. Solar systems, star systems, whatever you want to call them. I keep saying galaxies, that's wrong. So each one of these little dots here are the ones that you can go to, providing that you've got enough fuel and a frame shift drive, which is their equivalent of a warp drive, to get to. And you scroll out, and I mean, the size of this is quite literally bonkers. So there is all of that to explore in this one little galaxy here. So it is quite ridiculous, really, as to how much they've actually put into this. Now, it is all procedurally generated, which means, of course, that there's sort of random encounters and bits and pieces to everyone you go to. But the fact that, there's this much in here, and there's a huge interest in economy, as well as just sort of general space battles and things like that. You can ally yourself with certain factions at certain systems. You can become wanted in certain systems if you've pissed the right people off, or, if you've done it by accident. So the actual interior of the ship, I really like, actually. I wish I did have a joystick and throttle control, because this is the perfect game for it. The controls are quite sensitive, and it's on a 6-axis of movement as well, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. One thing to consider is, as well, is, of course, I'm recording this, which means that the frame rate suffers slightly, but this is on Ultra Graphics. This is the preset for the system that I've got in here. So what we'll do is we'll access the starport surfaces for where we are, see what the state of the ship is. Okay, so I'm full of fuel, everything's repaired, well, except my hull, which is at 10%, which is a bit weird. Now, I did get involved in a conflict, which means I had to kill 9 ships, and they were all way better than me. But what I'll do is I'll show you what's actually on the ship at the moment. So we've got 2 burst lasers. The one on the left here, I believe, is actually on a gimbal, which means that it will move around and aim at different places, whereas the one on the right here is actually static, so it'll just fire in a straight line. I did actually have a torpedo launcher, which cost me about 13 grand, and it only holds 1 torpedo, but the amount of damage this thing does is mental. It can just blow up a ship in one. But it costs 15,000 credits per torpedo, so I've got 175,000 just from sort of doing general courier missions. Bounties are the real the ones to look out for, is when you get pulled out of warp, so to speak, and there'll be someone there who's trying to steal some cargo from you. You can jettison cargo and they'll just leave you alone, or you can, if once you've done a scan on them, if it turns out that they are a pirate or they're wanted by a certain Federation faction or whatever, if you kill them, you can claim the bounty from their respective system. So I'm actually pretty fucked up at the moment. As you can see, my health in the right here, the shields are fine, everything else is fine, full power to the engines at the moment, but I'm on 10% health, which really doesn't help. So what we'll do is we'll just launch from where we are. I'll have to find a better starport that's actually got the repair functionality, and get my ship patched up, because at the moment I'm in absolutely no state to take anybody on. So this whole launch sequence, I absolutely love that. And we will just take straight off from here. So it should be released now. There we are.
Ship released.
So we'll just go up a little bit.
Landing gear
Retract the landing gear. And I mean, the actual control that you have over the ship is pretty impressive. It's A and D on the keyboard to go left and right, and the mouse pitches up, down, and then rolls the ship over as well. But it does give you a really, really high a level of control over the actual ship itself. So you can find yourself zipping in and out of debris, in between ships, dodging fire. Obviously, the bigger the ship you have, the harder it is, to sort of dodge things, and it's obviously less manoeuvrable. But I quite like the ship that we're in at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to scan the area. We'll just sort of aim in that general direction. We'll have a look around the... right, so this system has only got the one free port that we're at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to find a galaxy, a star system that has got a repair facility. So we'll just have a look at the system view for this fairly close system here. So there you can see the Dubrovsky ring actually has a repair facility. However, I'm actually wanted in this system for blowing some motherfucker who jumped me up. So I can go there, but it'll be risky because with the state of my ship at the moment, it's not really worth it. And there's a lot of things you've got to take into account, even just between jumps, like the fuel level there on the right hand side. You can see I've got full fuel canisters, but each light speed jump that you use actually uses quite a bit of it depending on the actual distance. So what we'll do is we'll try and find a system, maybe a similar sort of distance away that maybe I'm not wanted and that does have a facility that I can repair. So that one has just got a planet in it. Shit, that was the wrong button. Okay, what about that one? That one hasn't got any data. That one hasn't either. Down here maybe? Here we are. Okay, system view. Okay, so here we have another dock. Oh shit, I'm wanted there as well. Balls. Okay, well, I think that one was closer, wasn't it? So we'll head there. We'll select that as a waypoint. Yep, that was the one. Now, one thing you can actually do is if you want to travel great distances, say if I wanted to go over here to this sector, because I wouldn't be able to make that in a single jump with the frame drive that I've got and the amount of fuel, and plus cargo has an impact on it as well. You can actually plot a route and it will take you through various star systems to actually get there. But what you've got to do is make sure that one of the star systems has got a refueling port to actually refuel. Otherwise, you'll do what I did and end up getting stuck in deep space, having to wait until you run out of fuel and then eventually oxygen and then die in space quite horribly, which is pretty shit. Now, if you're meeting friends at a specific star system anywhere in the galaxy, you can just type in the exact system name they're in and it will take you over to it and it will hopefully let you plot a course. But for now, we've got a system over here. We'll do that. We'll line ourselves up and we'll activate the frameshift drive. So we throttle up. We've got full power to the engine at the moment. And you can see the tiny little blue bar on the fuel indicator there. That shows how much fuel I'm going to use in this particular jump. So obviously, not a huge amount. So now we go all Doctor Who and enter hyperspace. When you actually see ships that you're in combat with, say, who are trying to get away from you because they know they're going to get killed, watching them frame shift jump looks brilliant. It just sort of flash and they're bang and they're gone. So here we are. This is NN4215B. Fantastic name, I'm sure you'll agree. But around the sun are obviously all the different planets in orbit, and there are a whole bunch of different sources of signals all over the place that you can sort of drop out of hyperspace and investigate. But at the moment, that is what we're after. And we are currently 80 odd light years away from it. So it is, as you can see on the compass just to the left hand side of the map, that points out where you are. Now what you've got to do, the tricky part is actually slowing down for where you're going to be, and if you can alter the direction of your ship, that usually it might slow me down enough. There we go. Okay, so as you can see in this solar system, in orbit of this planet here is the ring that we're after. So we'll speed up a little bit. Now the gauge on the left hand side there That is a really important one. The distance, blue, and the speed, blue. You want to get both those lines in the blue sector to safely drop out of hyperspace at the required location. If you drop out now, say, you would be 0.60 light years away. But to try and make it on normal speed, it would take months, literally. So there's just no point. So we want to try and drop in pretty close. I mean, at the moment, it does automatically slow you down when you start approaching the target that you want to get to. So I'm hoping that it should keep me at a rough speed to actually enable me to drop out at the right time. So let's just increase speed a little bit. You know, you don't want to overdo it, otherwise you'll speed up too fast and then overshoot it, and you've got to turn around and do it all again. So there's a bit of finesse actually just trying to get into position. But again, I think this just adds to it. I mean, the economy, the trading, there's all kinds of illegal activities to get involved with as well. Piracy, slaves, things like that. But you can just play it for the trade route, so you can just buy... I think we're in... There we are. So safe, disengage, ready. We'll drop out of hyperspace directly. There we are. And there's the ring that we're after. Now, the tricky thing with these particular space stations is that it's never entirely clear as to where the entrance is. Now, one thing to look out for is where it's actually spinning on its axis. So, from the looks of it, I think it might be round this way here. So, once you get within 7.5 kilometres, you can actually contact the station and request docking from them.
Docking request.
There we go. So, we're granted, and we've got to land on pad number 43. So, let's see if we can find the fucking entrance to this stupid thing. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of ships all milling about on this side of the station, which hopefully means that they are, rather than just general patrol vessels, because I don't want them to scan me, because they'll figure out that I'm a wanted dude in this area, they are heading for the entrance, because I, unfortunately, cannot see it anywhere. Now, it does give you, as you can see, there's a timer there for 10 minutes to actually land on the pad. Now, that's so that if you go in and reserve a pad slot, so in this instance, I've got 43, if there was a whole bunch of people trying to dock at this and you weren't actually going to land there, you would be filling up a pad that somebody else wanted. And it's the same with, oh shit, God, that didn't go well. It's kind of the same with pad hogging as well, so you can't just sort of hover over any pads that aren't allocated to you, because the station automatic defences will kick in and just blow you away. And as you can see, these things are basically Death Stars. They're actually covered in guns. But this isn't helping me find the actual fucking entrance to this thing. Now, you do have a boost on your ship as well, which will give you a quick escape if you're getting pounded on a little bit too hard. But things like you can pick up cargo from deep space, although that's technically classed as stealing, which means that it's an illicit cargo. So if any Federation or security forces scan you and they pick up that you've got an illegal cargo on board, they'll fine you immediately. So that's one thing you want to try and avoid. As soon as you pick up anything that's maybe not too legal, is try and ditch it as quick as possible. Now this is... oh, fuck me. This is becoming a bit of a nightmare, as I can't see where the fucking entrance is. Come on. Now, if it gave some kind of HUD... shit the bed.
Hull integrity critical.
Oh,
Eject.
fuck.
Eject.
Didn't see that pylon. Blew up like a dickhead. Fantastic work, Dan. Well done. Okay, well, at least you can see what happens when you die. Basically, what will happen is it will take a small amount to actually rebuild the exact ship with the modifications and all bits and pieces that you had on there. Any cargo that you would have had, though, will be lost, and any missions that have a clause in them which says that you can't die during the mission again, you'll fail. Now, hopefully, we should respawn at this, hopefully, this station. No, we're back at the one that we were in before, but never mind, because actually now we'll see if we can find a signal source or just some sort of general conflict or something like that. We'll drop in there and we'll have a look at the combat system. So we just want to get out of this system first of all. Okay, now if we accelerate with the landing gear
Engines
still down,
engaged.
you'll notice that the maximum speed that it will go to is about 110. There we are. But as soon as we lift up the landing gear,
Landing gear retracted.
there we go, all the way back up to 200 odd. So it literally halves the speed with the cargo scoop or the landing gear down. But the mass lock that you just saw go out then in the bottom right, when you're approaching a station, it kind of mass locks you into its own gravity field. So you can't actually engage the hyper jump from there.
Frameshift drive.
But I put
charging.
some new capacitors on the ship, which actually helps with power distribution
4,
between the fuel
3,
cells and all the various
2,
systems
1.
on the ship.
Engage.
Which means that the new frameshift drive that I had installed as well should hopefully charge up quicker, which means that if you're getting your head kicked in, you can escape hopefully a little bit quicker than you would before. Okay, so I've still got 172,000 credits. That's fine. But what we're looking for at the moment is just something that appears on the HUD. Oh shit, get a bit close to that planet. Now, if you get too close to planets or suns, what we'll do, it'll just drop you straight out of hyperspace, because it doesn't want you to fly straight into them, because obviously you'll just explode immediately. So it just drops you out and gives you a chance to use an escape vector to actually leave the gravitational orbit of that specific planet or sun. But we'll hopefully increase our speed, head towards this sort of generic destination over here, and it will speed me up as we go, and hopefully we'll see some kind of sensor ping pop up somewhere on the way. At least I'm hoping so. There probably won't be anything, but we never know. Maybe we should have a look for something a bit more in system. Okay, let's try this unexplored area here instead. So now we use the compass, turn back around. Ah, there we are, there's one. It's a strong signal source, so we'll slow down. Now this could be anything. This could just be a security fleet who's just sort of milling about. This could be a pirate. It could be a civilian transport. It could be criminals waiting to steal things from you. I've been ambushed by really powerful ships by just dumping cargo there. Could be a player. It could be anything really. But there's certain types of scanners you can pick up. So if anyone leaves the area in a jump, you can actually scan their sort of warp trail, so to speak, and then follow them through. But it's not something I need at the moment, so I haven't wasted any money on that, because basically you've got to plan ahead. So you don't want to buy anything too expensive, because if your ship gets blown up, you will need to replace it, and it will be a percentage of its original cost. So you want to make sure that you don't want to spend 200 grand out of your 210 on a new ship with all these upgrades, because if you get destroyed, you probably won't have enough to actually buy a new one. So we need to get within 1 million, I think that's megameters, not entirely sure, to safely disengage. So let's see what's behind portal number 1. So now we have a whole bunch of ships over here. Okay, so we've got some sidewinders. As you can see, it's scanning on the left, so you've got to keep them pretty much straight ahead of you, and it'll allow you to scan each of them. There's also cargo scanners that you can get installed as well to actually scan what cargo they've got if you want to be a bit of a pirate. But all of these guys at the moment seem to be a part of a wing, which means that there'll be 7 of them to take them all down. But there doesn't appear to be any reason for them to be here other than the fact that they are just here. So they are transporting something. So let's have a look what's in that transporter. Let's have a look. Oh no, they're clean as well. Okay, well that's basically what would happen, and then if we deploy hard points with you, the lasers pop out, and then see that one tracking immediately onto the ship on the right. That's because that's the one we have targeted. So if we just untarget those, hopefully this won't piss them off and they'll start shooting at me, but you get the idea there. The ammo counter for machine guns and rockets and turrets and things is you've got to buy the ammo individually, whereas with lasers like this actually run off the fuel in the ship. So if we fire that down to completion, obviously you can see that it takes quite a while to actually recharge those, but that's because at the moment all the energy is actually in the engines. So if we press down on the arrow keys, reset all the figures, power up the weapons, and you can see how much quicker that actually charges up. So if you know that you've got the upper hand on an enemy, or your shields are full, theirs are gone, you may as well just redirect all the power to the weapons and just fucking give them hell while you've got a chance to. If your shields go offline, however, that's part of the system that you need to recharge. So then you just press left on the arrow key, recharge the system, and that will enable your shields to recharge faster. Obviously, everything takes a hit from that, so at the moment we've almost got no speed. But what we can do is we can keep system at 4, but we can actually take energy from the weapons. So you see, everything gets distributed around. So we can have half system, half engines if you want to escape, say. So you've got an extra speed boost with then a speed boost on top of that as well, whilst it's giving time for your shields to regenerate. But if you haven't got anywhere to go, you can just distribute it between the shields and the weapons. But there's also mines. There's just a whole bunch of different mods. All the different stations have got different things as well. It's a really cool game. I'm absolutely loving this. Already about 15 hours into it, and at the moment I've done pretty much fuck all except been intercepted every now and then and just sort of pulled out of frame shift and bits and pieces. Now, if you've got anyone who's too close to you, it sort of affects your field, your warp field kind of thing. So the closer you are to people, the slower it'll take your jump drive to charge. So if you're chasing anyone down, keep on top of them for as long as you can, as it'll slow down their time to actually jump out of the way. So in that instance, there wasn't any combat there. But you can bet your bottom dollar I will be doing some more of these, because I absolutely fucking love this game in its current state. Hoping to see more. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of paid transactions or anything like that. You earn your credits through doing missions, collecting bounties, trading, all that good stuff, and you can buy yourself huge ships. There's some absolutely massive ones. Cargo transporters if you want to be made a trader. Also scanning and... Oh, I'll tell you what. There's one little thing there. Why don't we have a quick look in this, and if there's nothing in there, we'll leave it at that. But hopefully there'll be someone in there with a bit of a bounty on the head so we can claim it. There is also an upgrade mod, because usually when you've killed a pirate, say, you've got to go, like I say, to their a respective system to actually collect that bounty. But there is actually an upgrade you can buy, which automatically collects all bounties as soon as you've got them. So that is something I may consider in the future, as you know, you're collecting bounties from places where you're usually quite far from, so you've got to spend a lot of time heading all the way back to where you've just come from just to get a few hundred credits or whatever it is. But some of them, especially the expert ones, if you've got a few people with you, you can easily get 30,000 credits just for one kill, which is pretty good. But let's investigate this source and see what the hell's going on in here. Okay, so in this one, the grey one there are usually objects. So in this one, we've got some canisters. So these are ancient artifacts. Now, you can take these to most places. If it's illegal in that specific location, however, you won't be able to... you might be able to trade it, but you'll probably get pulled over first. I haven't attempted it yet. But what we'll do is I'll show you the cargo scoop.
Cargo scoop deployed.
So we line ourselves up with a box on the left-hand side. That gives you the sort of point of view of the cargo scoop. Missed that one completely, going too fast. And now we'll sort of spin off into space. So we'll try and catch him. And line it up. There he goes, he's stopped. And then we should just be able to pop that straight into cargo. There we go. So now my overall speed has actually decreased. I won't be able to light speed jump quite as far as I would have before. But obviously some of these are incredibly valuable. So if you can shift them at the black market, or if you can find some traders in planetary orbit, head over to them, trade them the goods. Some of them will give you a damn good price as well. But the trading way is really the way to go for the money thing, really. So spend a load on a commodity you know is needed at a certain area, and you obviously get a much higher rate of return. So you can make an absolute fortune, buy an entire fleet of ships, kit them all out. I don't know if you can actually trade sort of currency and modules and ships and things with friends. I'm hoping that's a feature. As soon as I actually find someone else who's got it, I'll be sure to give it a bit of a test. But that does it. This is Elite Dangerous. It's pretty fucking badass, and I absolutely love it. Expect more of these. Thanks all for joining. Bye-bye.